Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Mill Putt Mafia. I am your favorite Dungeon Master, DM Andy, and today we're going to build marketplace stalls for your tabletop war games. For all you cardboard crafting cultists out there that like to follow my channel, you know I'm working on a series of videos where I'm building a village, and every good adventurer needs a place to re-up his supplies. So let's grab some Jenga blocks, some coffee stir sticks, some XPS foam, and a hot glue gun. And this will help us get started for these vendor adventure trading posts. So I'm going to start with my hot glue gun, and I'm going to take the larger of the two Jenga blocks, and I'm going to stick 2 pieces of stir stick directly to the Jenga block. Now, you could always build these out of straight foam, but the Jenga blocks are going to give them a little weight so they won't get knocked over as easy on your table. And once that glue was good and set up, I just took a pair of dikes and I crimped the coffee stir sticks and bent them till they snapped. It's going to leave a little bit of a rough edge, but clean those up and then move over to a piece of sandpaper and just smooth it out a little bit. It doesn't take much here. Normally I wouldn't use sandpaper, but I want these nice and square so that when I glue other pieces on, they come out even. Alright, back to my glue gun. I'm going to take those same coffee stir sticks, and I'm going to make 3 spots on the front that are just extra pieces. Like if you were looking at the side of something built out of wood that was old, it would have the long running slats and then small pieces that are vertical, which is holding it all together. And I do both the outside pieces first, so I can just eyeball where the center is when I put the third one in. I just find it's easier to put that center piece in once you got the 2 outside in and you can just visually see where it goes. Okay, once again, crimp off the piece of stir stick and then sand down the block just a little bit. We're going to put some XPS foam on the top of it, so whether you've done the top or the bottom where you've crimped and cut, you want it to be clean so it'll either set level on your table or the XPS foam going on there won't be crooked. So here I grabbed a mini and I'm going to use it to eyeball this how high the posts on the side are going to be for creating the roof. I don't really like to measure things very often, so I can't give you an idea of 40 millimeters, 50 millimeters, inch and a half, whatever. I just like to use my minis. They work. They help you see what you're looking for. Works out really good. Here I took a broken ink pen. There's no ink left in it, and I made wood grain. I faked the wood out of the XPS foam. I know I worked with wood doing this, but you'll see later why faking the grain in the XPS foam makes nice recesses for when you're painting, and it just looks good from 3 feet away on the table. Helps sell the piece. So just add as much or as little as you want. You could also use a wire brush after you've drawn some of these deeper lines in, and that'll help sell the piece as well. Alright, back to the hot glue gun, and now we're going to set the post to the tabletop. I put 1 on each side, as close as I could to the front. This is going to be the front of the market stall. Hold the mini up to it, you can see him standing behind the table where his goods are going to be. Now I cut a thin sliver of XPS foam the same size as the Jenga block. And I did the same thing again. I got out this old broken pen and I made wood grain. Then I pumped a little hot glue on top of that Jenga block and I slapped that piece of XPS foam on there. Once again, there's the mini right behind his table where his goods are going to be. Alright, now I took these 2 smaller Jenga blocks. If you notice there, I had 2 different sized Jenga blocks. I'm going to put the small ones standing up on their side, glue it to the post and to the Jenga block so there's a side to the market stall. Plus, this helps reinforce those posts so they won't fall over as easy. I find that when you're working with XPS foam, you want 3 points of connection to make the most strength possible out of your piece. Alright, cut some more XPS foam strips, I textured them with the pen, and I glued them to the tops of the sides. Then I made smaller posts, textured those, and glued them to the back of the market stall. So if you notice, the posts in the front are taller than the ones in the back. I made 2 more long posts by just holding it up to the market stall and cutting them a little bit longer than the width of the market stall. That way the post will hang over the edge and give it that that deck look. Old school buildings always have posts sticking out of them. Here I wanted to make sure this was going to be tough and could survive somebody knocking it over. So I took some toothpicks and I made holes in the top of each post. Then I put a little white glue on the toothpick and shoved the cut in down into the hole I made. That way when I put the posts on, I can stick them through the sharp point, and then that'll create some strength for these posts since there's nothing there but XPS foam. Technically, you could skip this step if you wanted to and just hot glue those on there. But I just wanted to show you other ways to work with XPS foam so that you're giving it some internal structure, almost a skeleton. Once I got these all set up, I white glued them in there. I'm going to take the hot glue gun and I'm going to hit the tip of those toothpicks with hot glue before I shove the top post on. I also wood grain textured those longer posts as well. I am going to cover those up so you don't necessarily have to do the whole thing, but at least do the underside and the sides that are going to be exposed. You'll see later once I put the tarp on what I'm talking about. Alright, all you foam crafters know what's happening now. I'm going to cover the entire thing in Mod Podge and black paint. It does two things for me. Of course, it gives me my base coat, almost a primer, and it strengthens up the XPS foam. Alright, now get you a dollar store paintbrush, or even some of those more expensive like Citadel or Army Painter dry brushes. The thick one that's about the thickness of a finger worked really well on this. I'm not actually dry brushing it. About 80-90% coverage because I want my recesses to show. So just pick your favorite brown paint or however you like going about painting wood and give a few whacks at it and get it all coated up. Now these are wet wipes, like Clorox wet wipes. I dried one out, completely dried it out, let it set overnight, and they work perfect when you need a cloth, some kind of tarp. I use it for all kinds of stuff, but I just cut one down by butting it up to the market stall, and I made it skinnier than the long post on top on the roof. And I took this big tongue depressor style popsicle stick. I used my paintbrush, some dark red paint, and my little Santa Claus paint tray, and I just dabbed paint on it. I used the edge of the tongue depressor to keep my lines kind of straight. And again, I didn't measure anything. I didn't care how well it turned out because these are medieval style. These are old world stuff. Like nothing's gonna have a perfectly straight line and be exactly right unless you were super wealthy. So I did one side for the middle, flipped the popsicle stick over, and did the other side. Now we're gonna need some stuff for our vendor to sell, and I want this to be a food vendor's market stall. So I got the Sculpey out. I rolled up some little bitty balls, and I just squished those onto some aluminum foil. Took an old card and made some grooves in it so it looks like little baguettes and little rolls of bread. These are little fishes that came off a little kid's necklace. I just stuck those to some masking tape and hit it with the airbrush, made them solid green, then made the tails and the faces blue. Just a little bit of paint. I think they look really, really cool, to tell you the truth. Alright, here's a trick. I don't have any little serving trays, and I don't have a 3D printer to make any. So I got that tongue depressor out from the ones I was showing you earlier that I used to paint with, and I used my model snips, and I took my time making a small wooden tray. If you just take your time, these will turn out fine. Grab your sandpaper and smooth out the edge from where you cut it out. But they work perfect. You don't have to waste your time looking for dollhouse dishes or anything like that. You don't have to cut a bunch of plastic. You saw how fast that took. Went back to my same brown paint that I used on the stall, but because I didn't base coat that, it turned out pretty cool. Now let's give these a spin, and I'll show you a couple other ones I made. I think they turned out really, really cool. I hope you like them, guys. And as always, I am your favorite Dungeon Master, DM Andy, saying, please like and subscribe.